This is the second part of our two-part Best Starter Pokemon in Unova series. If you haven't checked out the first part in this series, be sure to click the annotation here. And with all that out of the way, let's get started. Welcome back to the second installment of our Best Starter series in Unova. Last time we figured out that Tepig is statistically the best starter Pokemon in Black and White. And in this episode we will yet again take a look at these three starter Pokemon to figure out which one of them is the best starter Pokemon in Black and White too. And again, we are joined today by my good friend TheSilverSlasher to help us answer this very question.
That's right, and just like last time, we'll be finding out which gym leader is the most difficult in these games over on my channel, which you should totally check out because if you like this series, you'll probably like that one too.
And like we said before, this video does not reflect our own opinions. These are based on numbers and facts that we've gathered through extensive research, so don't get mad at us, okay? Like pretty please, you just don't. And you guys should already know the process behind how we come to this conclusion, but if you don't, then be sure to click the annotation here to go watch the first part. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And with that being said, let's get started.
For the sake of time in the last video, we went over Snivy's performance in more depth, and compared the other two from there, so this time we'll start with Oshawott. This little water otter is a great addition to your team for many reasons. The first, most glaring benefit is that the only fishing rod you can obtain in this game isn't until post-game, so water types are more rare than usual. It does good against some pretty challenging opponents like Clay, Hugh, and Chantal, and for the most part has pretty even matchups with others.
While yes, this may be true, Oshawott does have some glaring weaknesses to characters like Eryizo and Colress. Both of these characters carry strong electric-type Pokemon and moves that can easily take down Oshawott. For example, Colress has a Magneton, Magnezone, and Klinklang with Thunderbolt, and Eryizo, well, she's an electric-type gym leader.
And really hot.
Stop it. Get some help.
But you forced me to put that line in.
So anyways, Oshawott also has a pretty tough time with gym leaders like Berg and Drayden, as well as Caitlyn of the Elite Four.
You can't hide what you've done behind a stutter joke.
Since in these games Berg decided to drop his Whirlipede for another grass type, the Oshawott line obviously does a bit worse against him. Then with Drayden, obviously Dragon still resists water, so it's hard to get a lot accomplished with Samurott, and Caitlyn's team still has a lot of coverage moves over Samurott, even after Reuniclus for getting Thunder.
And that's pretty much everything special about Oshawott. Like we said, he pretty much goes even after that. So with that being said, let's take a look at Tepig. Black and White's best starter has a fairly good time 2 years later in Black and White 2. Tepig has a very strong showing against Roxy, Berg, Grimsley, and pretty much all of Team Plasma minus Ghetsis. With Roxy, Pignite can easily take down her Whirlipede and doesn't have that much of a problem with coughing. Berg is even more of a pushover in Black and White 2, replacing his Whirlipede with another Bug Grass type. Grimsley still has the same Dark type team, and almost all of Team Plasma carries Dark or Normal types.
This is all true, but he still does go through a fair amount of trouble throughout the game. Take Skyla for example. Even though her newly added Pokemon is weak to Emboar, she still has her Swoobat and Swanna to take care of him. And you can't forget about Clay's ground types, Drayden's dragon types, and especially the new gym leader Marlin's water types. And not only does he have water types, but one of them is even immune to all fighting attacks.
I see where you're coming from, and the problems don't stop there. Well, it appears Ghetsis seemed to learn a lot in the 2-year gap because the newly added Pokemon he has really gives Emboar a tough time. I mean, just look at his team. Almost all of his Pokemon have a counter to Emboar, and the troubles still don't end there. Besides Grimsley, Emboar struggles or goes even with the entire Elite Four and Champion.
You're right there. Literally all of Chantal's Pokemon can easily counter Emboar. Whether it's a Psychic, Acrobatics, or Earthquake, Chantal makes life a living hell for Emboar. After that, you've got Caitlyn with her Psychic moves and Marshall who completely walls Emboar fighting type moves, and to top it all off, has a couple Pokemon that can counter him. I guess when you think about it, Black and White 2 gave Emboar a lot more difficult of a time than in the previous games. I mean, sure it has strengths here and there, but I guess the cons kinda outweigh the pros this time. Which means the best starter has to be... No. It can't be!
But it is, my silver friend. Snivy is the best starter in Unova. And I mean, just look at it, Wade. How could you not see this coming? Just look at all the advantages he has. Like, for example, there's, there's, Clay, and Marlin, Wait a minute, why are there so many disadvantages? Wait, I thought you knew the format. It's supposed to go worst, middle, then best. Why Snivy last?
I thought you said we wanted to try something different, you know, because the viewers are getting upset and saying it's a little too predictable.
Oh yeah. See, I do listen. But I guess since we're here now, we might as well explain why it's the worst, right, Wade?
It would be my displeasure. Once again, the Snivy line has been deemed the worst choice of starter in Unova. As much as I love me some Snivy, I can't deny that it just has too many negative matchups. Clay and Marlin are literally the only important characters that it has the advantage over, performing poorly against almost all of the others. I think a big reason for this is the Pokemon's move pool.
Yeah, one of Snivy's biggest flaws is that they learn almost no coverage moves, with Grass and Normal taking up pretty much all of its space. Not to mention that in this game, 3 of the gym leaders are super effective against them. And in Unova, there are just too few water types to fight, and too many bug, flying, fire, and poison types for it to push through and get work done.
It really is, and just as an aside, a lot of people seem to be thinking that because a starter is the worst choice, that it's bad, and that's really not the case. After all the, well, I picked Superior and I beat the whole game with it, so you're wrong, I would just like to say, you could beat the game with a Bidoof, you goober. But anyways, that means we're down to the last 2. So, Eryizo, which starter Pokemon is taking the title of best starter today?
I'm so glad you asked. By the absolute closest margin in the history of the series, the best starter in Black and White 2 is... Emboar. No, I'm just kidding. For the first time ever, the water-type starter has actually won. Since we sort of glossed over key points about Samurott, allow us to further explain.
Throughout the Unova region, the Oshawott line just generally accomplishes what it needs to, only having a real struggle against Alessa and Colress with the obvious electric types, and minor struggles with some others. Examples of this are Drayden, who has the resistance but doesn't have anything super effective to fire back with, and Caitlyn, who runs non-stab coverage moves like Charge Beam, Energy Ball, and Thunderbolt. Plus, if you happen to come across a Heart Scale, you can give your Samurott Megahorn, which will be very useful for taking out those pesky psychic types as well as the ever-present grass types.
Other than those few matchups, Samurott does generally above average. And again, these 2 Pokemon were so evenly matched that we had to nitpick a lot more than usual to get this outcome. What really killed Emboar in the end though was his slow speed and Hugh's team. When we took a closer look at the Clay Gym battle, we noticed that even though the fighting type is super effective against Crocorock and Excadrill, both of them are way faster and have a better chance to knock it out.
At the point that we started to look at Hugh, it was looking like it was going to be a perfect tie between Emboar and Samurott. However, at that moment we realized that if your Samurott has Revenge, you can more than likely knock out Buffalont before it takes you out with a Wild Charge. It doesn't actually do as much damage to you as Revenge does to it, and with the recoil from the move it just used, you overall have the advantage. The final thing that sealed the deal was ironically the one thing that made Emboar so good originally. The fighting type. Being a fighting type means that Emboar is weak to the moves of 3 of Hugh's team, instead of just 2. So with all of this in mind, it seemed fair that Oshawott deserved just 1 more point, sealing his position as the best starter in Black and White 2.
It's so refreshing to see that the water-type starter finally gets the upper hand over the other 2.
I get it. Refreshing. Haha.
I think a top-notch pun like that is a good place to end it off. The best starter in Black and White 2 is Oshawott.
Oh yeah!
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments section below. As we said before, this video is based totally on numbers and facts and does not reflect our personal opinions, so please send your hate emails to this email here. Trust me, that's the email of Matt, just send them there. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and become an Eryizo today. I also want to thank my good friend TheSilverSlasher for joining me today and helping me with this video.
No problem, it's been a wild ride learning everything there is to know about Unova. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want to see the 2 of us once again talk about the most difficult gym leader in Unova this time for Black and White 2, be sure to click this annotation to go check it out. It's even better than the Black and White episode, I promise.
If you want to see the other best starter videos, click the other annotation here. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time.